Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's live broadcast. I am your host, Spyce, love and sex empowerment coach for strong, successful women and creator of the program Love Cleansing, where we delve deep into what is stopping us from having the love and intimacy that we desire and so greatly deserve. So, on today's program, we're going to talk about the relationship red flags, how to spot them and how to stop them in their paths. That's something that is very, very needed because it's very easy to get caught up in the sea of online dating, isn't it? So just before we start, a couple of words I just wanted to mention. If you're watching this, depending on where you're watching this, it depends on where you might find me. You can find me on my personal page, which is Spicy Spyce. You can also, if you're a strong, successful woman that wants to stay in touch about all of these topics, you can join my Facebook group, which is Love Cleansing. You can also check me out on my website, which is lovecleansing.com. There's all kinds of free stuff on there and free information, and many other places on the web. I have a podcast that you can also find out about on my website, The Spicy Buzz. I do that every month, and I've done it every week at times. Right now I'm doing it every month. So I talk with all kinds of people from the sex positive industry, and we talk about all kinds of things that people are up to. It's really exciting. But on today's program, like I said, I want to talk a little bit about the red flags, the relationship red flags. How do we spot them and how do we stop them dead in their tracks? So when you're out there in the dating world, it can feel like a pretty tough place to navigate, right? Especially when you're a strong and successful woman in many aspects of your life, you might feel like the dating place is the one place where you don't want to have to worry about anything, right? You don't want to have to always be in charge. You want to be able to let your hair down and just relax and just not have to be on guard all the time. And it would be nice to be able to just let go and trust in humanity. However, I don't know, humanity is not necessarily something that we can always trust in until we actually understand it. And so while it's attainable to get to that point where you can really trust in humanity, you have to first be willing to take a look at some of the misconceptions that you yourself have about love, dating, romance, and your own worthy place in that. And you have to focus more on the fallacies of human nature and really understanding the fallacies of human nature. See, unfortunately, there are many people out there who have not done the work. But of course, everyone wants love and wants to feel special. So even if somebody is not ready for a relationship, they're still going to be out there, putting themselves out there and looking for love and wanting to get involved with people, whether they're ready for it or not. And because we're the kind of women who are used to being in charge and being the caretaker, and we're always willing to give him another chance, we may allow things into our sphere that really are not worthy of our time. And we have to create an environment where these things are not allowed in, where we can tell from before we even start to get involved with something, we can tell how it's going to end. And knowing the end of the story before it begins can be really, really helpful in not getting involved in situations that are going to actually take us down. Now, there is a veritable sea of men out there who'd be happy to take you down, suck you dry, and all of the above. And I want to be able to help you navigate these potentially choppy waters of the seas of men out there, because I only want to see you being sucked dry in ways that you want to be sucked dry. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely don't want to see you getting involved in situations that are obvious from the beginning that are not things that are going to pan out in the way that you want them to and are not going to give you the experiences that you're looking for. So I've compiled a list. Now, there are so many red flags out there. And like I was saying before, it's really about learning human nature and learning what people are going to do. But we're not going to be able to get through all of those because that's a lifelong process of learning and understanding human nature. But for now, I've just compiled a list of 10 relationship red flags that we can spot, and then we can stop them dead in their tracks, and we don't have to move forward with relationships with people who have these potentially toxic behaviors. All right, so are you ready? Ready to start? Before we start, let me see who's here. Oh, cool. A bunch of you are here. If anyone wants to say hello, I'm happy to see all of you. I'm not going to do the thing where I call out and say hi to everybody, because then you wind up just being like, overwhelmed with like saying hi to everybody. So I'm saying hi to all of you at once. Hello. And if you feel like saying anything, feel free, because I'm here. So number one, this is a big one. They're constantly testing your boundaries, right? So anyone who repeatedly asks you to do something that you have made expressly clear that you don't want to do, or you don't want to do yet, or you're not interested in, that is a person who is going to continually push you into places that you don't want to be pushed. Now, there is something to be said for gentle nudges that bring you to an edge that actually help you to grow, a growth edge. However, all of that needs to be consensual, and all of that needs to be done from a place of trust, where people have actually consented to saying, I want to be pushed, and I want to, have my boundaries nudged a little bit to get me to a place of growth. But when you meet somebody and right off the bat, they're constantly testing your boundaries, you can tell from that they're the kind of person who, A, are not good with boundaries, and B, are just going to keep trying to push you farther and farther than you want to go, and you haven't established any kind of level of trust with them. So how can they be a trustworthy person? This is the kind of person that once you give them an inch, they will push you a mile down the road. And somebody who is doing this has seen it work for them before in other relationships. And so they're used to getting their way by force. So if you set your boundaries up front with somebody like this and they push them anyway, they're likely to do it again and again and again. And it's a pattern that they've developed, and a pattern that you're not going to change in them so quickly. So that's something to stay away from. Number two, they're overly critical about their previous partners. Now, you ever meet somebody who's like, oh yeah, and then my ex was like really messed up and yada yada. Oh, and then my other one, and then, my ex-wife, but I don't talk to her anymore. And they don't talk to any of their exes. They have restraining orders against this one. They have a broken relationship with that one. They hate this one. They don't like even their mom and everybody else. And so if everybody that they have been with has been crazy bitch, you know that you're probably the next crazy bitch on the list for this person, because they're somebody who is obviously seeking drama and who doesn't know how to actually have a healthy, mature relationship. And not only are they probably facilitating drama and unhealthiness in their relationship, but they are probably just so used to it themselves that that's what they allow. And so this is somebody who also just doesn't have very good boundaries in themselves, and it's a sign to run for the hills, because you do not want to be the ex crazy bitch, right? Okay, so number three, they rush the relationship. Now, this might feel really good at the start, especially if it's been a while since you've been with somebody, but this kind of feeling never lasts, because somebody who's not willing to take the time to get to know you before they rush into this feeling of like, oh my God, I love you and I need you and I want to be with you, are not really in love with you. They're in love with the fantasy of you. They're in love with the idea that you represent to them, and they might just be in love with the idea of being in a relationship. Most people who want to jump into a relationship, they don't care who the relationship is with. They just want that feeling of feeling in love, of feeling like they're wanted and needed and special. Because, I mean, come on, we can all agree, right? Like, that feeling of being in love is super, super great, and it feels awesome. And so it's very tempting when somebody comes at you and says, oh my God, you're the greatest thing I've ever met, to be able to be like, oh my gosh, yes, I am the greatest thing you've ever met, and you're the greatest thing I've ever met, and you just want to bask in that energy. However, if you're looking for a long-term relationship, it's very, very unlikely that this is going to be it, because this is a person who is addicted to that feeling of a new relationship, and they're not taking the time to get to know you, and they're not going to be there for you in the long haul. Many times, once you get to know this person, once they get to know you, you're going to see all of these different things about each other that you're like, that's not really what I was looking for. And that's not going to sustain itself. Now, I know that doesn't feel good to hear, and especially if you are in the throes of love, those first feelings of love, that never feels good to hear. But I'm telling you, it's going to feel worse when you realize and come to the realization of, this is not going to work out, and this is somebody who really wasn't in love with me at all. Number 4, they try to monopolize your time, your other relationships, and your basically entire life. Now, this happens often when you're a strong woman. You meet somebody who says, oh my gosh, you're so amazing, you're so strong, you're so independent, I love that about you. And then they systematically try to break down everything about you that is strong and independent, because they fear that you're going to leave them, and they want to keep you in a cage, and they want to keep you with them. So all those things that drew them to you, they now want to change because they're afraid. So, this kind of person wants you to put any plans that you have with anybody else below plans you have with him. Maybe they want you to bring them with you on everything that you do. They want to be more important than any other friends, any of your family, your kids, any other activities, even your own personal time. They don't respect that. They want you to just be with them all the time. They want to have access to every aspect of your life. Now, this comes from a very specific place of insecurity. Like I was saying, it's somebody who doesn't trust that you really are into them, and they need to make sure that they have you in this container so that way they can be certain that you're going to stay with them and be with them. However, when somebody is just not respectful of the time that you have in your life for other things and the other things that you're doing, they're not seeing you as a whole, complete person. They're seeing you as what they can get from you and what they want from you. And also, when somebody is willing to do this in their own life with you and willing to just basically drop everything in their own life, it shows that their priorities are not set on straight. It shows that they're not a very trustworthy kind of person who really sticks to their commitments and their boundaries, and it shows that they just don't respect your time, and they don't respect their own time. And it's like kind of a thing of like, if you have so little going on in your own life that you can just drop everything, to me, that's not an attractive quality in somebody. I want to be with somebody who has stuff going on and is willing to stick to those things and stick to their commitments and not just be willing to drop everything for me. On the other hand, this is number 5. They won't make any plans with you. They won't make any future plans. Now, when somebody does this, they're showing you that your time just isn't as important as theirs. And also that they don't really care about spending time with you. They don't really care about securing a plan with you to make sure that you're available. Now, whether you are busy as sin and you're out every single night and moment, or whether you're spending every night sitting on the couch eating ice cream, it doesn't really matter because your time is still valuable. And anybody who you're going to get involved in a relationship with needs to see that your time is valuable and it's just as valuable as theirs. And they're going to be willing to make plans with you and stick to those plans and show you that they respect and value your time and energy. So that's really important. And I know in today's world, there's all kinds of ways to make plans and ways to not make plans. Whenever somebody says, at the end of the date, oh yeah, I'll call you, 90% of the time, they're not going to unless they do right away. And unless they say, okay, I'm going to make a plan with you right away, they're not going to. So that could be a very surefire sign to you. If you're trying to figure out, is he into me? Is he not into me? If he's not willing to make plans with you, he's not that into you. Sorry, babe. Number 6, you don't like their friends. So like attracts like. And if you meet somebody whose closest people are people that you are just like, oh my gosh, what the hell is up with this person? That can be a surefire sign to you that the person that you're hanging out with is probably pretty similar to the people that they are attracting. It's also indicative not only of who that person likely is, but also how good they are at setting boundaries with people in their life. Because, sometimes there are people who say things like, oh, well, these are just my old friends and I'm not really like that anymore. But, for a number of reasons, I can't extract myself from them and I can't do things in a different way. So whether or not maybe this person is going to eventually change and eventually be able to extract themselves from negative relationships that they've gotten themselves involved in, you can't sit around and wait for that. You want to be with somebody who has already done the work. If you have already done the work, you need to be with somebody who has already done the work as well. If you haven't already done the work, well, then it's time to do it before you go out and start attracting people, because if not, you're just going to keep attracting these people who haven't done the work. Number 7, they don't practice what they preach. Now, this is a big one that I think happens often. There are many people that say, oh yeah, I'm totally going to do this. And then they never do. And in our world, because we're so busy, because there's so many things going on, because there's the internet and there's Facebook and there's all these other things that people have to pay attention to, somehow it's become okay to be flaky. However, in my world, it's not okay to be flaky. If somebody says they're going to do something and they don't follow through, it's really, really hard for me to trust that they're the kind of person that has integrity to do what they say they're going to do. I mean, it's very simple. Don't say that you're going to do it if you can't do it. Now, something that I really respect is when somebody is very clear about their limitations of who they are. And if somebody can say to me, hey, you know what? I would like to do that, but I probably won't. That means way more to me than someone who says, oh yeah, sure, of course, I'll definitely do this. Because they're just telling me what I want to hear. And I don't want to hear anything but the truth. I don't want to hear a line of bullshit about what you're going to do unless you're seriously going to do it. I would much rather have you tell me I'm not going to do that than to say that you are going to do it and then not come through. That once again shows somebody who is not very clear on themselves and not very good with their own boundaries. And number 1 in this list was boundaries, because it's super duper important. Number 8, everything is about them. So this is a major relationship red flag, is when pretty much everything in this person's life, everything that they talk about, like you can't get in a word edgewise. Your feelings, your experiences, your suffering is not important because, oh my God, they have this trouble, they have that trouble, their car broke down, they're getting in trouble with somebody at work, they're not happy with their friends, they're fighting with their family. And you just have to basically be on call for all of this person's insecurities and fallacies and differences and all this other stuff. You're not in this to be somebody's therapist, right? You're in this to have an equal, mature, healthy relationship with somebody where you're going to support them and they're going to support you. So when somebody is constantly being the one who needs to be on the receiving end of support and care, that's not going to really jive well. Now, when you're a strong, successful woman, this tends to be your MO, is that you tend to find people that you can help, that you can be there for, because you feel like, well, I'm pretty good at where I'm at who I am, so let me help this person because they have so much potential, right? It's really easy to fall in love with potential. But potential is something that's a very nebulous quality. And somebody could have potential their entire life and never do shit with it. So it's really important to, as I was saying before, find people who are fully formed. And this right here is a really clear sign that somebody is not fully formed. People who do this, who are always talking about themselves and always making everything about themselves, they also do this in a way to ingratiate themselves to you, because they know that once you feel a certain kind of, once you know about their life and once you understand what's going on with them, you're probably going to then start feeling some kind of sense of sorry, I'm losing my words, but you're going to feel a sense of responsibility to them. And you're going to feel like you need to take care of them, like we were saying. And you're going to feel like, well, you know, I want to help this person out. And that's just not a good thing. But, you know, if you find yourself in a situation where you're making an excuse for someone's bad behavior over and over again because you know their situation, that's a sign that you need to GTFO. All right. But then on the other hand, what about somebody who, number 9, makes it all about you? And they're at your beck and call. And they're like, yes, ma'am, whatever you want. That's a red flag right there. When somebody puts you on a pedestal, that's a little bit of a scary thing, because pedestals can be pretty high, and falling off that bitch could really, really hurt. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you want to be with somebody who's going to see you for all your faults and praise you for all your triumphs, and who's going to love you warts and all, right? If they're acting like you could do no wrong, it's going to really, really not be a great situation when they find out that, yeah, you know what, you're human and you can do things wrong. It's also very likely that they have a very unrealistic view of you that is not based at all in reality. And it's based in a fantasy of someone who they think you are, someone who they would like you to be, maybe somebody that they've been with before, somebody else that they're comparing you to, or just a specific archetype that they want and that they're looking for. It's an ideal that they're shooting for. And all these are signs that someone has not been in a healthy and mature relationship. Okay, so are you ready for the big finale? The big finale, number 10, is the easiest one. It's the one that we all know and that we all choose to ignore all the time. And that is, something in your gut tells you that this is wrong. So the first thing that you need to do when you're out in these situations is learn to trust your intuition and listen to your gut. If you have the feeling that something is wrong and something is not right about the situation or what this person is telling you, you are right. You understand me? Your gut is right. Your intuition is right. And you are always going to know that. The problem is that we always tend to not listen to our intuition, to not listen to ourselves, and to just allow other things to get in the way. So what I'm telling you is that if you want to be a real master of human nature and understanding the fallacies of human nature, you need to trust your gut and listen to your intuition. It's that simple. But it's not always that simple, right? And it takes some time and it takes some really, really deep work to get to a point where you can truly trust yourself and where you can know that you're worthy and you can clear yourself and cleanse yourself of all these different ideas and misconceptions and beliefs that you've developed around love and romance and intimacy. So that's why I'm here. I'm Spyce, the Love and Sex Empowerment Coach with Love Cleansing, a program that is all about helping you to delve deep into the ways that you are not getting what you want and look at why you're not getting what you want and how we can work to change them. So if you'd like to hear further, just stay in touch. I hope this list has helped you. You can connect with me on Facebook through my personal page, Spicy Spyce. You can also find me at the Facebook group, which is a great place to come if you're a strong, successful woman and you want more exclusive content of this kind about ways that you can just become more clear in who you are as a strong woman. So that is facebook.com/groups/love cleansing. Just search for Love Cleansing and you should be able to find it. You can also find me through my website, lovecleansing.com. You can get on my mailing list there. You can also get a bunch of free gifts and content that you can't find anywhere else. So that's pretty much all I have for you today. And I'm glad for all of you who have been here on the call with me. Anybody who wants to say hi, I'm happy to engage or talk with you. Thank you all for being here. And my question to you is, which of these red flags do you find are the hardest for you to spot right off the bat? So if anybody wants to put that in the comments, even after I've shut down, I would really, really like to know which one of these 10 red flags that I've just talked about, which one are the ones that are the hardest for you to spot, because then maybe we can come up with some creative ideas for how to spot them better. Hope you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next Facebook Live next Thursday at noon Pacific time. I will be here. Take care.